Welcome to the Molweni River Health Schools project. The project started in 2013 with a view of highlighting some of the enormous environmental challenges facing our rivers. 8 high schools in the area participate, and they test the waters in the catchment twice a year, once in summer and once in winter. Each school selects 5 learners to participate, and each team of 5 is accompanied by a water scientist. The role of the water scientist is to ensure that the quality of the testing is good, and also to explain to the learners what the process is all about. This year's winter testing has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and we have been unable to use the learners to do the testing. We have, however, made a plan, and the water scientists have done the testing, collected the data, and also produced this video so that we can share it with the learners, the schools, and the public at large. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the schools, the learners, the municipality, the companies that release the scientists, and of course the scientists and the volunteers themselves that make this project possible. Kloof Conservancy hopes that this project will empower learners and the public at large to take care of this important and scarce natural resource. Let's see how this project works.
The project takes place in the Molweni catchment west of Durban, KZN. 8 testing sites are included in this project, starting at the river source at the Springside Nature Reserve, following the different river streams that jointly become the Molweni River, all the way to the confluence with Mgeni River.
South Africa is a water-scarce country, and unfortunately, due to human development in various areas, mainly around our water resources, this is putting an increased pressure on our water quality. Not only do we have very little water, but the water is becoming increasingly polluted. For example, you can see the poor water quality here by the bubbles that are being created on the surface of the water. If we do not try and fix these issues, our water is going to get increasingly worse at a rapid rate. This project allows us to identify the quality and health of the water and the ecosystem around the tested area. The results from the testing allows us to identify any issues within the ecosystem that's tested, which we can then bring up with the relevant authorities in order to address these issues. This allows us the opportunity to raise these issues with the community within the surrounding area and those living adjacent to the water source.
So the day of that sampling, the testing teams formed by 5 students, a teacher, a technical coordinator and a technical specialist get together at the sampling site selected for them, and they will visit the site for about 3 hours while they carry on with the sampling. So once the team has completed the sampling, they will get all their equipment and all their information collected, and they will get back to the interpretative center at the Kloof Nature Reserve, and they will then compare and share their results with all the other schools. They will get together at this facility, and in that day the students will also obtain the final results of this sampling event.
People ask me what is river health and miniSASS. miniSASS was developed by Mgeni Water and Izimela KZN Wildlife. It is a simplified version of the South African scoring system. miniSASS can be used by communities and individuals to measure and monitor the health of their rivers. It is a tool where riverine invertebrates are being used to measure water quality. It is easy to do miniSASS. All you need is a net, a tray, your gumboots, magnifying glass and a scoring sheet.
What I'm doing here is checking the microfauna of the UV stream. This is very important to check the biodiversity over the years to see if the biodiversity is increasing or decreasing, and see how the effects of human pressure in the form of land use is affecting these little creatures that we are collecting. This stream here goes into the Kloof Nature Reserve. It's fairly pristine as far as residents know, but every so often you get leaks from septic tanks into the river, and this affects the water quality. This stream also is periodically flooded during heavy rain, so any microfauna that builds up here just gets washed into the reserve. The plant life along the riverbank is mainly indigenous, although some of the residents do not take enough care to remove the invasive aliens, and these too get washed into the reserve. So the reserve itself is extremely critical to biodiversity, as we know, and anything we can do to prevent the plant and animal loss is worthwhile.
After sampling a site, the sample net is carefully emptied into a tray of water, taking care to wash out any invertebrates that may be clinging to the net. When analyzing your sample, you need to look for all possible macroinvertebrate life forms. The dichotomous key flowchart can be used to identify these organisms. Macroinvertebrates are animals that have no backbone and are large enough to see without a microscope. These may include insects, larvae, worms, and mollusks. When identifying the macroinvertebrates, you need to look very closely at their structural characteristics to help you differentiate them from others. Once the sample has been analyzed, the organisms need to be returned to the river. Once the visual assessment is complete, 4 sampling sections of the river are selected to collect samples. 2 team members get on their gumboots and take the net with them and venture into the water. Always working downstream upwards to avoid contamination of the next sampling section, the team approaches the section with care and the fun starts. 1 team member must hold the net facing their partner. The second team member must disturb the river's sand, rocks, and vegetation by moving frantically with their gumboots, allowing the invertebrates to be released and caught by the net. The sampling must be timed up to 1 minute. When time is up, the net is pulled out of the water and taken to safe ground for observation.
I have just collected the water samples from the site number 3 Memorial Park. These samples are sent to the municipality lab where they check E. coli, conductivity and dissolved oxygen.
Scholars have a data sheet which they fill out in the field, and this sheet contains all the information that's needed for this Molweni River Health project. When the students get to the interpretive center at the Kloof Nature Reserve, they hand this particular data sheet to one of the technical team members who enters it into the master database. This particular database has all the results taken every summer and every winter since the start of the program in 2013. And what this enables is real-time entry of the data into this database that enables the students to see straight away the the value of their work that they've done today. And it compares what they've done today to the historical data. So it's immediate analysis of the health of the river. Then after that, the Cliff Conservancy compiles a report, and this is sent to the competent authorities for further action.
The Molweni River Health Program is about education and awareness through science, where we use a simplified scientific assessment technique to sample sites along the Molweni River to show the learners what's there and what the health of the river system is like. But because the program focuses on education and not on a scientific methodology, the data collected is scientifically inaccurate. But it does give us an indication of what's going on in the river system, and when we put all that information together we've collected over the years, we can start to see trends. When you put that information into a spreadsheet, it starts to look something like this, where these are all the samples that we've done, the sample sites and the schools. Generally the colours are yellow and green. Yellow usually represents a fair condition and the green is a good condition. Some of the sites show fairly good conditions consistently over the samples, some sites yellow or fair condition over the samples, and some sites reflect inputs that change the condition to very poor, which is reflected in the red colour. These inputs are usually in the form of a sewer inflow or a discharge of a detergent or soaps into the river system which affect its health. So we do have these sorts of problems on the river system, but generally the Molweni is one of the healthier river systems in the city. The key thing to note is how the green zones like Kroonskloof Nature Reserve can help to improve river health downstream. The sites downstream are generally in a better condition than the sites above Kroonskloof Nature Reserve. So we need to look after these green zones and expand them through education and awareness. If people are more aware of the impact they're having on our water system and the river health, and they can change their ways, the green areas can expand and the river health can improve. So looking at the bugs is one way to look at the river health. If we add to that the water quality assessments and we put the two together, we get a much better idea of what's happening in the river as a whole. So river health is very important not only in terms of the aquatic ecosystems, but also for the communities that use those river systems. Some of those communities are very reliant on the water from the systems for water to drink and for cleaning and things like that. So if we're going to keep the river systems improving, we need to inform these people and people generally about river health. If everybody plays their part and we get improved education and awareness, people can start to see how these river systems can improve by their contribution. So to the schools out there, this program is great and it needs your support. Try and get your schools involved, try and get your learners educated so that they can take these things they've learned back to their communities and start to implement them at that level. If we all do this together, the river systems as a whole can start to improve around the city to the betterment of everybody.
Participate in the Molweni River Schools Health Project not only adds value by making learning relevant, but it also highlights the importance to the learners of how and why to look after the environment.
I really enjoyed the water testing investigation as it showed us how to put the practical steps of an investigation into real life and how to ensure an accurate experiment.
We've been part of Kloof water testing since 2013. What we have learned about this water testing is that it's helped our learners mostly to link what you have studied here at school and what you are doing there at water testing. So it helps us to practice what we teach in the class, like water availability and water quality. It makes sure that, or it alerts our learners about taking care of our environment and the factors that may affect or that cause our water or our rivers to be in a bad quality. So I think it's a good project that must carry on because it educates us a lot and it brings a link in real life and what we are learning at school.
What I've learned from water testing is that we should use water more carefully and wisely, because by 2030 we will be running out of water because we are not using water wisely. Contaminating dams and rivers had a very bad influence in our lives and in our aquatic lives too. Contaminating water killed a habitat for aquatic animals. I think we should teach our communities on how important it is to save water for future. I absolutely enjoy testing water because it has taught me many things. I thank you.
Okay, this is Miss Zungu from Tolulazi here. I've got my learners from grade 11, Anele and Sanele.
In the water testing, we learned about the invertebrate animals found in water. There are different types of animals. There are a lot of animals living there. So also in life sciences, we learn about different animals. There are water plants that are also found in water that we also learn about during the life science lessons. If there are things like toilets that are near the water, that may cause water pollution, and the animals living in water may die, and people living in that area drinking that water may also get diseases like diarrhea, etc.
Thank you so much. These are my learners who have done water testing previously. Thank you. Bye.